Three magic lakes surround the town of Boyle and add beauty to the mountains Ceish Corran, Brickleave and the Curlews, and the three lakes are Key, Arrow and Garra. On the shores of Lough Garra, near the town of Ballahadrina, John Surlis has his home and shop. A man now in his 70s and with a long family history to be proud of, and a kindly face, a great love for children in his heart and for his own place and people. Never happier than here at home in Monastraden, with his wife Bridget, his son John Jr., his daughter-in-law Bridie, and his own grandchildren and neighbours' children playing all around him. John Surlis is not only a merchant and head of a happy home. He follows a craft that has been in his family for 400 years, certainly distinctly traceable for 6 generations. The Surlis men were coopers, a craft that, except in certain specialist places, has almost vanished in our time. From cooperage they branched out into other skilled styles of woodworking, for wood was their life. To the woods of the MacDermot of Coolavin, a famous name, a house always hospitable to harpers and poets, to find the raw material for his craft. John Surlis looks at the trees with a friendly but carefully examining eye. It's hard to get good native timber nowadays, he'll tell you. Once there was plenty of it, and people would even ask you to oblige them to cut down a tree that might be dangerously near to the house. The thing then was to make everything from living wood that you could make. Today it's left standing too long, rot and woodworm get in. Timber's this way. When you start to cut it, it's the same as yourself, alive and breathing. And when you cut it, it's not dead. It's dead when it just decays like a biscuit. While it's in the house, and no matter what you use it for, it's alive. When John Surlis's father started work, there was no local mill for sawing. All the timber had to be cut by hand with a saw called the frame saw, which was operated by 2 men, one standing in a pit underneath the timber, the other above. The saw only made to cut on the down stroke. Michael Dwyer and his brother Mark own the sawmill in Boyle.
You have a big stock of timber here now.
Yes. Would you have a few pieces of timber that'll suit me?
Oh, yes, we have some nice ash. Yeah.
Yes, well,
Nice
that's what I
white
wanted,
ash,
yeah.
They'd be suitable now for old turf barrels, some of them with the bends in them, you know what I mean? Wouldn't they? That's
Oh,
that
yes.
One now, that one now, wouldn't it be suitable
Yes.
for a turf barrel?
The legs
old-
of the barrows, yes.
Don't you make lorry shafts too?
I do, yes.
Yeah.
Well, some of them top portions I do.
Them ones there?
Yes.
Yeah, I see. Do you make any riddles, Mr. Surlis?
No, I didn't make any in a good while.
In years?
Yeah, in years.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Well, there
Yeah.
was an old man down the way here that used to make them, you know.
Yes, I remember
Used to
seeing him.
specialise in that
Yes.
sort of thing, you know. But this old Gorman, like I used to hear a way back that he used to cut the log of ash to the length, you know,
Yes,
and clipped it with a clipper, you know.
yes.
And however he used to do it, and he used to cut them out, not to saw them at all, you know.
No sawn out, no sawn.
That's the way he
Yeah.
used to do it, you know.
All from October came, he was getting them ready for November for the oats, for riddling the oats.
Yes.
Well,
And
I'm too old now for beetling the timber for to take the stripes off for making the riddle.
Oh, I see.
You see, you lifted it up with a chisel,
Yeah,
and you pulled the strip the whole length.
I see.
And there was no plane and no more, only put the bottom in the riddle.
When Peter the Great began to build ships, there were few sawmills in Russia. But the shipwrights, men from the forests, had great skill with the axe. Using an adze for blocking, John Surlis will say, before there was ever a saw or a mill, that's how it was done. 66 years ago, he says, the circular saw, working on water power, came to boil.
A lovely day.
The three-legged stool will sit on high ground or low ground, and at the milking could be mighty helpful if the cow turned frisky. That was before the milking machine. The machine needs no stool. But this four-legged stool, a local Sligo style for the hearth or for the milking, seems to be a great favourite, as it takes shape under his hands. The holes for the legs are drilled with an auger. For strength and security, they're drilled at an angle. The seat is trimmed with a hand axe or hatchet, and now you can see with what skill Peter the Great's men in their time, and many other men since time began, trimmed wood. From Battlebridge on the Upper Shannon, close to Leitrim village, and the last remnants of the fortress of O'Rourke of Breffni, the grandfather of John Surlis moved, and married in Cloonloo, a mile from Drumboylan Church. He had 3 sons and 3 daughters. Another brother came with him. They brought their craft and their style with them. Here comes the most interesting animal I've encountered in a long time. Last seen by me in the workshop of Joe McLaughlin, the last craftsman cooper in Omagh town. It's the cooper's grey mare. Known by that name, John Surlis says, and in several languages, of course all over Europe. That vice is as old as the Middle Ages. In comfort and control, the craftsman sits and plies his spokeshave. My father married, John says, when he was 20 and eventually came to live at Fallings, not far from Ballahadreen. When he was 14, John took the place of his elder brother Bill, who had gone to the United States of America and went, you might say, to the woods to follow the ancestral craft. John himself had 2 sons and 3 daughters, and now has 18 grandchildren, his great pride, for he delights to be among children. His own family, as he puts it, spread out to make a living. He himself was 8 years in the States, from 1925 to 33, managed a store for a Clareman who was in a big way of business in chain stores, a fleet of trucks, a racetrack at Tarrytown on the Hudson, and more besides, but who went bust. The years are significant. The Depression was there. The log is expertly split with the beetle and cleaver to break out the legs for the stool. That is why John likes ash, for it splits cleanly and evenly. John came home from the States and built a house and shop and went back to the woods. But the chief reason for his coming home, and he tells it with laughter in his voice, was because of a lady who was a school teacher in the famous school at Tony Brack. The school that Mr. James Dillon described, and he wasn't slighting it, as the Bog College. To Tony Brack, scholars came from far and near and stayed in the houses with the local people. It was as famous as the schools of Munster in the days of William Carleton's poor scholar. John Surlis married that lady teacher from Tony Brack, Bridget Mann. The legs are finished with a draw knife. The tools are few and simple: saw, chisel, auger, hatchet, spokeshave. He still has a set of cooper's tools in use, and the draw knife is one of them. The diameter is checked with a wooden gauge, but he says easily that his work in wood is now for him more of a hobby than anything else. Green timber is easier to work and is handy for pig troughs, harrows and handles, but the superior work is done from well-seasoned timber, and proper seasoning is a lengthy and all-important work. The legs are fitted in and hammered home. Deal seasons itself, and you can work ash with only a third of the sap out. Some woods can do with 3 or 4 years seasoning, the planks the way you stack them separated for air. The waste ends are sawn off. The legs steadied with wedges of their own substance. Not a nail anywhere to be seen. And there's the finished article, as steady on its feet as a strong farmer. Vincent Cochrane, the postman, stops for a chat.
Morning, Mr. Surlis. Oh, I'm not bad. Oh, it's a lovely day, thank God.
Bag for me today?
Oh, well, I got a letter for you. It might be a cheque.
It doesn't look like one, I think.
It doesn't look like one from the girls.
You're getting tired. Brother's wall. Get we finished.
It's young Declan's job to feed the chickens.
Pick them all now.
John Surlis is still a very active man. When he was younger, he helped to fell many's the tree with a crosscut, a two-man saw. If the tree was a big one, a rope was attached to each handle, and with two men aside, it took only 25 to 30 minutes to fell the largest tree.
We'll soon have all the big ones too. You can leave them on there.
The miniature chairs are replicas of full-sized chairs that John makes. His fingers are never idle, as handy with the penknife as the spokesheaf. Ursula likes nothing better than to put the chairs on the shelves in the shop. Little chairs for leprechauns. Baskets and straddles for their donkeys. Even hurley sticks. And Terry Madden drops in.
Fine.
That's a nice evening.
It was wonderful.
Great.
Wonderful day.
It was a good day.
Fine. You got all your hair today?
Finished.
Yeah.
Got finished, and I got the turf done as well.
Very good.
So I'm flying now.
Yeah.
No problem.
You can sit down now
I
for the
can sit
winter.
down for the winter, is right. But I'm going to do a little bit of mowing, so
Oh,
I
yes.
want to buy a grass board off you anyway.
Yeah, very good.
A good one now that'll last.
That's the best one. Good we did it.
And I want to pick one of those as well.
Yeah.
Try
Right,
them, right?
go ahead.
You pick one for me because
When you trust me.
might as well trust you up to now, so.
Well, that's the best one now. And when you're picking a rod again, always pick the heavy one. And you're getting the first lint of what they call the butt of the tree.
Fine, that's grand.
And no matter what handle you buy, always get weight in it.
Same thing.
Yeah, same thing.
That won't break anyway.
No.
That looks a perfect.
That's not a branch.
That's not a branch. It's a good one. That is.
Yeah.
That's grand. And I'll have some sugar as well off it,
Yeah,
please.
very good. You have a sweet tooth.
I have a sweet tooth. It's not great for the weight, but however, I'm still going to have it anyway. And you could give me 20 major as well, please.
Very good. To soothe the nerve.
That's good for the nerves. You can charge those up to me.
Very good.
That's fine.
Yeah.
When my grandfather came from Leitrim, John Surlis will tell you, the chair got its name. He brought a traditional local style with him from one county to another, at a time when every townland had its own fashion, away before standardization and mass production. He's talking of the Leitrim chair, the product of his craft that has brought him international fame and brought specimens of his work to the National Museum. He shapes the seat with the hand axe. marks the holes for the back rungs of the chair, drills with the auger, and he marks out the back rest. With this chair, John Surlis captured in Canada a most prestigious international award, the World's Craft Council Award, at an exhibition held in Toronto in 1974, among 500 exhibits and exhibitors from 57 countries. Dr. Muriel Gann of the Craft Council of Ireland was responsible for encouraging him to enter the competition. According to John, anything that had been done for craft, it was Miss Gann did it, and she did everything she could. And quietly proud of his own achievement and of the tradition behind it, he'll say, like a true artist, anything I'd make would be better the next time. And I suppose that's how I got the prize.
Now, turn it this way. Rub it light now.
He works with his grandson Kieran, who possesses a little Cooper's grey mare, all on his own. Kieran, he feels, may follow him in the craft. Like green fingers, these skills and interests can, people say, jump a generation.
Are you going to the bog again today?
I don't think so.
You're not going? You must work too hard yesterday. Did you, Hank?
Yeah.
Yeah. And was the bank high?
Bit.
And was the bog dry now? But I think you'd rather help them than help us. Would you?
When he learned the craft, the firkins were still being made for the transport and export of butter. Fine oak firkins hooped with wood of a lesser breed, £56 to the firkin, and the dealer used to test the butter with an instrument that went right to the bottom. A firkin, when you can find one, is now an antique. American oak came in baulks, 5 feet long, easy to split, a straight grain using mallet and cleaver, simpler than a saw. Hoop iron came from Belgium to make hoops for the churns, but hoops could also be made from sally rods. Good oak gave no tack, no unwanted flavour to the butter. He made horse and donkey harrows, 5 baulks and 5 holes in each baulk, 25 iron pins, and all the drilling that required, and the bar and swingle. His father and himself could make 3 or 4 in a day. They made their last one about 1940. Outside the shop, the craftwork is on display. Ladders and hay ropes, loy shafts and pig troughs. Barrels whose bands are carefully tested. The almost forgotten craft of the cooper.
That's all right. It's okay, that'll pass.
A donkey straddle. A donkey now is almost as rare as the craft of the cooper, but straddles of this sort made the labour of the little animal so much easier. And here's a fine family rocking chair. A genuine dog cart, if ever there was such a thing. Outside the shop and around the house, the children play. By the shore of one of the 3 beautiful lakes of Boyle, the heart and head and hands of a dedicated craftsman have created a miniature wonderland for the children. Such were the joys when we all, girls and boys, in the springtime were seen on the echoing green.